So I'm reading along in Exodus, and God shows up. Now, don't get me wrong, God's present everywhere in the Bible, and God's power shows up, and his voice is heard, and he makes things happen a lot in the Bible, but he himself just flat showing up is really, really rare. It only happens 2 or 3 times when God appears in a way that people are actually kind of seeing him. So in Exodus 24, verses 9 and 10, it says, Moses and Aaron, Nadab and Abihu, and the 70 elders of Israel, the big dudes, went up and saw the God of Israel. And here's the part that caught my attention. Under his feet was something like a pavement made of lapis lazuli, as bright blue as the sky. And what caught my attention, 2 things. Number 1, I've barely heard of lapis lazuli. It's just an odd sounding thing. But number 2, like I said, it's only 2 or 3 times he shows up. And in the Ezekiel version of this, it uses the exact same stone to describe the pavement or the floor on which God is seated. His throne is always placed on this floor made of lapis lazuli. And so I want to look that up and say, what is that? And I look it up, and it's crazy. It's a precious stone, and it is the brightest blue. If you ever saw the King Tut, the headpiece on King Tut, and you'll notice there's blue stripes on it. Those blue stripes are lapis lazuli. It is an intense blue. Matter of fact, it was so intense, they only could get it in those days in Afghanistan, which is a long way from Israel. But they would import it just for how awesome it was. And I'm going, that's interesting that both Moses and Ezekiel see lapis lazuli, this intense blue, when they see the floor God standing on. And I'm wondering, why is that brought up? Well, there's a number of possible reasons. Might just be what they saw, but I think the biggest one is this. That was the most intense blue they knew of. It was bright and intense, and so was the experience they were having. They were having an experience with God that was insanely intense and powerful. And I have to think, how often are my encounters with God intense and powerful? How often are they incredible? How often are they mundane and almost meaningless? And maybe while I don't need to see lapis lazuli, a specific stone, maybe I should be striving to have lapis lazuli kind of experiences with God, intense encounters with the real God of the universe. Maybe I should quit settling for just bland beige and start shooting for intense. And that's today's Jumpstart.